Take a breath with me. In and out. Now imagine this. A man bound in chains, his wrists bruised, his back scarred, his body marked by every cruelty his masters could devise. But his eyes burn with something they cannot chain. Fire, defiance, a refusal so strong it cannot be whipped away, bought away, or buried alive. They called him property. They called him beast. They told him no slave escapes forever. But this man, this forgotten warrior, refused to kneel. Not once, not twice, 10 times. Pause here. Let that sink in. 10 escapes. 10 times he broke free from the world's most brutal system, only to be dragged back, chained again, beaten again, and yet he rose. Again, and again, and again. Who was he? Why don't we know his name in the same breath as heroes and generals, as kings and emperors? Why is his story buried in the dust of silence, when his fire should have lit the skies of memory? Because history belongs to the victors, and the victors feared him. Now, picture the world he lived in, the 19th century. Plantations stretching like prisons without walls. Sugar fields, cotton fields, coffee plantations, the engines of empire. The masters grow rich. The church blesses the harvest. The empire thrives on the broken backs of men, women, and children who never chose their fate. And in this world, running was not just an act of escape. It was war. Pause here again. Ask yourself, could you imagine trying once, knowing that if caught, your punishment would be worse than death? Whips tearing your skin, dogs tearing your flesh, family torn from your arms, scars carved into your body as reminders. Could you risk it again, and again, and again 10 times? That is the story we tell tonight. Not kings and palaces, but a man in chains who refused to kneel. Now, let's step into his first escape. The night is silent, heavy, thick with fear. The moon glows faint, but even its light feels like betrayal. He creeps through the cane fields, each leaf whispering, each step threatening to betray him. Behind him, the sound of chains he left behind still echoes in memory. Ahead of him, the unknown, forests thick with shadows, rivers swollen with danger, dogs trained to tear. But he runs. Every breath burns his chest. Every heartbeat hammers louder than the bells of the plantation chapel. And in that run, something shifts. For the first time, his body does not belong to his master. His breath belongs to him. His steps belong to him. Freedom, fragile and fleeting, surges through his veins. Pause. Imagine that moment. The first taste of freedom. What would you do? Run until your lungs collapse? Cry until your body shakes? Or would you simply breathe, savoring each breath as the first you ever truly owned? He makes it to the woods. He hides. Days pass. Hunger gnaws. Fear stalks. Yet freedom is a fire that makes even roots and dirty water taste like honey. But freedom in that world was hunted. The dogs come. The men come. Muskets in hand. Whips ready. Chains rattling. They find him. They drag him back. They tie him to a post. Strip his back. Lash until blood paints the ground. They whisper in his ear, never again. And yet, he will. Because once you've breathed freedom, no whip can beat it out of you. That was escape 1. But there were 9 more. Pause here. Ask yourself, what kind of spirit does it take to rise again after being beaten half to death? To plan again after failing? To risk again after knowing the price? This man carried that spirit. And tonight, we remember him. Take a breath with me. In and out, the first escape ended in chains, blood dripping into the soil. His body was broken, but his spirit, unshaken. Most men would have stopped. Most men would have buried the fire, smothered it beneath fear. But not him. He waited. He healed. He watched. He remembered every weakness in the system that held him. The overseer who drank too much. The guard who fell asleep. The dog that could be tricked with scraps of meat. He turned every scar into strategy. And then he tried again. Picture this. A storm rolling over the plantation. Lightning splits the sky. Rain pounds the earth until the cane fields tremble like an ocean. Amidst the chaos, he moves. Silent, swift, the storm becomes his ally. The dogs cannot track him through the flood. The torches sputter in the rain. Masters curse the heavens, but he thanks them. For the first time, the sky itself seems to fight alongside him. He vanishes into the forest. Days blur, nights stretch. He listens to the whispers of the trees, the calls of hidden animals. He eats roots, fruits, whatever the land offers. Each step carries him farther from the whip, closer to the unknown. And for a moment, just a moment, he believes he is free. Pause here. Imagine it. A fire in the woods, small but warm. His body curled against roots, listening not to commands of master, but to the rhythm of his own breath. Imagine the taste of freedom on his tongue, sharper than wine, sweeter than sugar. But empires do not sleep. Hunters are sent. Rewards are offered. Bring him back, alive or dead. And one night, as he rests by the river, shadows emerge. Muskets glint in moonlight. He runs, but a shot cracks the night. Pain rips through his leg. He falls. They chain him again, drag him through mud, back to the place he tried to forget. The punishment this time is worse. Whips until the skin nearly falls away. Salt rubbed into wounds. A collar of iron locked around his neck. A warning to all who dare dream. But you know what happens. He waits. He heals. And he runs again. Pause again. Ask yourself, how many times could you endure this? Once? Twice? Could you survive the lash, the hunger, the humiliation, and still whisper to yourself, not yet, not finished. I will rise again. His third escape is bolder. This time, he joins others. A small group, desperate like him, their eyes carrying the same fire. They whisper in the quarters at night, voices low but hearts loud. They plan. One smuggles a knife. Another steals a scrap of map. Another gathers dried meat. Together, they become more than slaves. They become conspirators. And one night, they move. The stars hide behind clouds. The forest swallows them. They run not as prey, but as a pack. Each step a defiance. Each breath a war cry. For weeks, they evade capture. They follow rivers. They sleep beneath roots. They head toward whispers of Colombo, a hidden community of the escaped. But freedom has enemies not only in masters, but in betrayal. One among them breaks. Fear eats his courage. Promises of mercy tempt his loyalty. He whispers to the hunters. He leads them straight to the camp. The attack is swift. Muskets roar. Fire spreads. Men scream. His brothers fall. He fights with a stolen blade, the steel glinting red in the firelight. He slashes, he roars, he bleeds, but he is outnumbered. Chains find him again. Dragged back. Tortured again. The masters whisper. He will not survive another. But he does. Because freedom is not a choice you abandon once you've tasted it. The fourth escape comes not with storms or weapons, but with cunning. He pretends submission. He works silently, obediently. The overseers begin to trust. They loosen the watch. They believe the spirit is broken, and that belief becomes his weapon. One night, as they drink and feast, as music drowns suspicion, he slips away. No chains, no dogs, no noise. Just silence, just cunning. He makes it farther this time, deeper into the forest. He finds signs of life, Colombos hidden like shadows of resistance. They welcome him, feed him, teach him the ways of survival. For the first time, he sees what freedom looks like in community. Drums beating not as codes but as celebration. Children laughing without fear. Elders telling stories of Africa, of kings, of warriors. Memory alive in exile. Pause here. Close your eyes. Can you hear the drums? The laughter? The stories? This is what he dreamed of. This is what the masters feared most. Not just one man escaping, but many together, building a world without chains. But the Empire does not forgive. Soldiers track the Colombo. They attack at dawn, muskets blazing, fire spreading. Screams echo through the trees. He fights again, machete in hand, torch in the other. The forest becomes a battlefield, the air thick with smoke and blood. He escapes the massacre, but not unscathed. He carries scars deeper than the whip, scars of watching children burned, women dragged, men executed. Freedom, once again, turned to ash, and so comes the fifth attempt. This time, he no longer runs blindly. He studies the land. He learns the rhythms of the soldiers, the weaknesses of the masters. He becomes a ghost in the forest. Hunters chase him, but he vanishes. Dogs follow his scent, but he crosses rivers, climbs cliffs, leave them howling at empty trails. He becomes legend, the slave who cannot be caught. The man who runs not once, not twice, but again and again and again. And yet, capture always lurks. Betrayal always follows. The empire, vast and merciless, always closes in. Pause here. Ask yourself, what kind of man does it take to escape 10 times? Is it madness? Is it desperation? Or is it the purest form of courage the world has ever known? By his fifth capture, his body is nearly destroyed. Whips leave no skin untouched. His back is a map of scars. His wrists are mangled from shackles. His spirit, they say, should be dust. But here's the truth. Scars do not break spirit. They etch memory deeper. And memory is stronger than chains. Take a breath with me. In and out, we left him scarred but unbroken. We left him captured again, dragged through the dust, mocked as the slave who never learns. And yet, what the masters didn't understand was this. Every capture only sharpened his resolve, because some men bend under chains, and some men, some rare men, become fire inside of them. Let's step forward. The sixth escape. It begins not with storm or battle, but with silence. A night where the moon hides, and even the dogs seem restless. He lies awake, chains rattling faintly against his ankles. Around him, other enslaved bodies sleep, exhausted from another day of forced labor. But he is awake, listening, counting, waiting. And then he moves, slow, careful. Every sound could be death. He works the chain with a shard of metal hidden for weeks. One slip, one clink too loud, and the whip would answer. But the gods of night seem to guard him. The chain loosens. The iron falls. He slips out. Again, pause here. Feel the weight of that moment. Can you imagine the courage it takes to try again after failure upon failure? After knowing the price of capture? The sixth escape is desperate. He runs through forests, through swamps, his body bruised, half-starved, but guided by a singular truth. Freedom or death. But freedom is not a straight path. Hunters catch him again. The whips fall harder, iron heavier. They brand his skin this time, mark him as property in fire and smoke. They want the world to see. This man belongs to us. But brands cannot claim the soul. The seventh attempt comes sooner than they expect. Because pain does not kill determination. If anything, it fuels it. This time, he disguises himself. He steals clothes from a master servant, wears them like armor. He walks, boldly, through a village, carrying himself not as a fugitive, but as a man who belongs. For days, the disguise holds. He tastes freedom again. He sees the ocean, smells the salt. He dreams of ships carrying him far, far away, but betrayal finds him. Someone recognizes the scars on his face, the mark burned into his skin. They point. Soldiers come. He runs, but chains greet him again. The punishment? Unthinkable. They hang him by his wrist for days, his body stretched, his muscles tearing. They starve him, leave him in filth. They whisper, this time he will not rise. And yet, he does. The eighth escape. Picture it, his body barely healed, yet his spirit stronger than ever. He flees again, and this time he reaches a Colombo deep in the forest. There, he is welcomed like a brother, like a warrior. They know his name. They know his story. They call him legend. For a while, he tastes true freedom. He trains with others. He helps defend the community. He learns to fight not only for himself, but for many. And the Colombo thrives in secret, its fires burning brighter than fear. Pause here. Can you feel that shift? For the first time, he is not alone. For the first time, rebellion feels larger than one man. But empires do not forgive legends. Soldiers attack again. Muskets roar. Fire spreads. Chains return. The ninth escape, madness, they say. Insanity. How can a man run again when the world itself hunts him. But he does. Each scar, each wound, each betrayal only deepens the truth inside him. No one owns me. This time, he hides in plain sight, works for months under another name, walks the markets as if free. The taste of life, almost normal, but silence betrays him. He cannot stay still. The dream of true freedom gnaws at him. He runs again. And now the 10th escape. Pause here. Take a deep breath. Because what we are about to witness is not simply a flight. It is defiance turned into legend. The 10th time, he knows the price. If caught, he will not survive. If caught, they will kill him slow to make an example. But still he runs. This time with fire. He lights the master's house. Flames devour the wood. Smoke blackens the sky. The same place that chained him now burns, screaming in red and orange. He does not flee silently this time. He leaves a message. Your house of chains will not last forever. Picture the scene. A black silhouette against a blaze. A man who had been called property, thief, runaway, now standing as resistance itself. Pause again. Close your eyes. Can you see it? The chains on the ground, glowing in firelight. The man walking away not as fugitive, but as storm. The records end in fragments. Some say he vanished into the forest, living out his days in a Colombo. Some say he was caught at last, executed brutally in a public square, his body displayed as warning. Others whisper he never died, that his spirit walks in every rebellion, in every uprising, in every torch raised against injustice. What is true, perhaps we will never know. But here's the truth that matters. 10 times he ran. 10 times he defied an empire. 10 times he refused silence. Pause here. Ask yourself, how we measure freedom. Is it in years lived without chains? Or is it in the courage to break them again and again, even if only for a night? His story was erased from official history. You won't find it in the textbooks. You won't see his name in marble. But memory is stubborn. Memory refuses to die. Tonight, by speaking his story, by listening, by remembering, we become the witnesses the empire tried to erase. And so we close with this. If he escaped 10 times, what will you do with his memory? If he burned a master's house, what will you burn? Silence, indifference, ignorance? If he defied an empire, what empire will you defy today? Take one last breath with me. In and out. Listen. Do you hear it? The crackle of fire, the snap of chains, the footsteps running into the dark. That sound belongs not only to him, it belongs to us now. Because silence was the master's weapon. And memory is ours. Subscribe for more stories on the Broken Chains channel. What do you think of this hidden history? Leave your comment below.